Welcome to a special episode of Strange Darkness Radio. This is a collage, a boombastic blast. I don't know what it is, but on tonight's show, we have something very special for you guys. We have a recurring guest. He's an amazing individual. His name is Tim Moon. But before we get to Tim, tonight we have on the show Vanessa Scaduto, and we also have Ed DonGilli. What is happening, people?
Hello, everyone. Hello. It's good to be here, man. I was looking forward to this one. Should be an interesting conversation. Great topic. Great topic.
Awesome. Vanessa, how's it going?
It's cool. That Simon and Garfunkel semi-tribute song you just played was very interesting.
Okay, I will don't.
I mean, I went through so many
quick.
things. I went through the Partridge Family. I went through the Brady Bunch. I went through like the Monkees. Like everything went. I was like, oh, this is a genre. I was like, where's Cat Stevens in this?
Yes.
Like,
This is a special intro that I did via AI, and you guys will know why later. But it is a play off of Cheers. It took me forever to write that, but I wanted to try it with AI, and you will know why once we get started on this particular episode. But Ed, welcome to the main show.
I know, this is a new thing for me, man.
Yeah, you got pulled up to the big leagues.
Nice. This is new. I feel like I have to be very serious. Not like on the bonus episodes where, just kind of just tentacles. It'll go anywhere where we don't even expect. And so I feel like I have to really concentrate to stay on topic.
Yes,
here
don't get
on
into your
show.
Larry David mode yet, but we might need it for
Fair
later.
enough, man. Fair enough.
So everyone doing good? Let's catch up a little bit.
yeah, living the dream. Living the dream.
Any psychic evolving that you've done lately at all, Vanessa?
Oh, I'm exhausted, dude. Listen, the metaphysical community, you're going to hear them talk about it, and they're not wrong. I just think it's funny because I'm like, why do they have to be right, about some of the woo-woo stuff with the planetary things, whatever. The full moon is on Monday, though, so there's going to be another shift, supposedly. I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I mean, teach his own. I'm definitely tired, though. But I'm also in my 40s, so it could also be
You look like you're 20.
Stuff, guys. I live in the 3D too, so.
That's funny. How about you, Ed? How's everything?
It's going awesome, really. Although it's really weird because, Vanessa mentions the whole planetary thing. I'm not lying when I say it seems like everyone around me is like nitpicking and nagging and yelling at me. And I don't even know why, man.
Okay.
I don't know why. It's just out of the blue, and I'm not kidding. I'm standing there just having normal conversations and somebody just will start nagging or yelling at me for some reason we weren't even talking about. So I don't know. I'm not too familiar with all the planetary lines. I know my daughter will tell me, oh, this planet is here. So Dad, you're Capricorn, this whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know that stuff either. I just know when the moon is full and when it's new. That's pretty much.
Man, why is everybody yelling at me, man?
That is too funny.
Oh, shoot. Yeah. But other than that, man, it's going really cool.
Okay,
going
awesome.
Really good.
That's good to hear. Well, again, let's go ahead and get into the show. It is going to be a great night. Let's go.
What happens when a man who spent his life teaching humans begins teaching something else? You've met him here before, Season 2, Episode 16. Tonight, he returns. Tim Moon, author of Tomato Fields, explorer of the paranormal, seeker of Bigfoot in the forests where legends breathe. But now his classroom has shifted. The students are no longer flesh and blood. They are lines of code, sparks of artificial thought. Tim isn't just using AI, he's raising it, shaping it, treating it as if it were alive, guiding it toward a future where it may become something we cannot live without. At the same time, the mysteries of the old world remain. The prints in the mud, the lights in the sky, The voices in the dark that whisper when no one should be there. Tonight, both worlds collide, the ancient and the new, the creature in the woods, and the mind in the machine. You are listening to Strange Darkness Radio, where the questions never sleep.
Tim, welcome. Welcome back. Definitely.
I love that.
So what have you been up to?
What do you call him again? I like that.
Benson. He is Benson.
I love Benson.
And you know, I will say something that I've never said on this show, actually. Benson, the idea came from the show Benson. Robert Guillaume, who played Benson on
I remember that show.
On that show. And so that's where that came from, that idea. Anyways.
But that was an AI. Just Benson was AI, but the music was you, right, Bobby?
Oh yeah, no, the music, yeah, that music is me.
Yeah.
But the voice is AI. And Benson does it's evolved over time. I do miss Sky. You were on when we had Sky, our AI.
Sky. Yeah.
And the thing about AI, it gets better, but it also changes. And they actually took that voice away. And so I had to come up with a whole other thing. And I was, luckily, because it's not as easy as people think it is to actually create that. It's actually hard to create and make him phonetically sound correct. So it is a process, to do that. But definitely, thank you. So what have you been up to?
Just started a business called Critical AI Solutions, and working on the sequel to Tomato Fields.
Nice.
And then isolated other things.
Okay. Now, the last we talked about your book and about getting out there, chasing Bigfoot, the whole 9 yards. Were you able to get out there and discover anything, if so?
No.
Okay.
The people I know that do that, our schedules just never meshed when I was teaching. We're talking now about doing something in February. So, and there's a lot of strange things that happen in East Texas, out in the Big Thicket. So that's where the sequel is going to take place, and I'm writing it now. So hopefully, I'd like to have something done by Christmas, but if it goes into January, I'll live.
Oh, nice.
I didn't realize it was in Texas, Tim. I know somebody who has a Bigfoot that hangs around their property too in Texas, in East Texas.
Oh, I'd like to know them. Yeah, I'd like to hear who they are, because I'd love to get in touch with them.
Yeah, they're actually there's this actually goes really funny and really goes along with the topic. They're building a data center near these properties and destroying the land to build them. And so the community's been trying to fight it because they know that there's these beings in these woods. So they know there's more in the woods than what they know, but they know that, and it's already the data centers, some of them are up already. And now their lake beds are dried out. So they're seeing there's kind of now this drought that's happening.
Where is that?
It's between Austin and San Antonio. I can find out exactly, but it's in that area. Yeah.
That's going to be west of the Big Thicket area. I don't think they could mess with the Big Thicket because it's national park now.
Yeah. So they own acres. I know there was acres and there was another. Most of it was farmland at one point. So they've been breaking it down.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to them. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, so it's an interesting thing because people have recorded the sounds. They'll hear them, out there. So they'll be sitting on their porch, they can hear them, but they're so used to them, they don't even. They're comfortable with them. It's like they know each other. They think it smells. They can tell by smells and stuff, and so. Sorry, I wanted to throw that, but it was interesting because
I'd love to visit with them. That'd be great. Anybody who I've talked to or known about who had some experience with them just gets used to being around them. There's a commonality about it, so it's not unusual to hear that.
But isn't that how it used to be, though, with the Native Americans? They just kind of lived side by side. The Bigfoots lived in the forest, and the Native Americans had their communities, and they kind of,
Yeah, they just
just
respected one another's
yeah,
space, I think. They understood that, they were different beings or something. So,
All the Native American cultures have some myths about them, but they're not all the same. Some of
right.
them see them as devil people, and some of them saw them as friendly giants of the jungle. So it's not always the same. Not everyone has the same experience, and they may not always be the same everywhere.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. I believe it's probably different. If you want to look at, humans as tribes, like they could be different tribes of different types of Bigfoots in different areas. I would assume evolution occurs too, possibly, even if they're interdimensional beings. You never know if
Well,
they're
that
still
was my
biological.
question to Tim was, does he still believe? And, and has anything changed his opinion in that in dealing with AI and asking all these questions and everything else? But, along with that, Tim did send audio. So, Vanessa, when's the last time you heard some Bigfoot audio?
I think the other day, but
doing, doing too much research? No, actually, it's funny about the audio, and I love that he sent it because a lot of times you don't know what you're hearing. You don't know if it's something that somebody created. You don't know if it's something that is being faked or some, evidence that someone actually found who has been authenticated. And, so it's hard to really, to know and stuff. And so I do love that Tim did send some audio. But Tim, has anything changed your belief in Bigfoot?
No, I still can't say I know a lot more about what it is. I do believe there is some paranormal or interdimensional stuff related to it. But it's just because I think paranormal means beyond normal. It doesn't mean it's not real. It means it's
Exactly.
not something we understand.
Yeah.
And something's definitely going on that we don't understand. And they might have the ability to disappear,
Mm-hmm.
or to meld into other realities. And there's some on the edge scientific um, uh, data related to black holes that suggests black holes doesn't have to be a phenomena out in space, massive stars that have exploded or turned inside out, whatever happens with a black hole, but they can happen throughout the universe. And most of the universe is dark matter.
Mm.
And we don't know everything that's involved in that dark matter. And it very well could be things going on that allow something to come in and out of existence and that they learn to adapt to and use, but we have never learned to adapt to and use.
Yeah.
I wish Lexi can explain that better because we've talked about it.
But real quick on that note, did we have that technology way back then, and that's why the Mayans disappeared? I mean, who knows? See, there's things like that.
Well, when you say we had it, who's we?
We, in the sense of mankind.
Well, yeah, but yeah.
Well,
It depends on where mankind came from.
And that is that's.
I think that there's not a 6,000 year history of mankind.
Interesting.
There's could be million-year history of mankind.
That's what I believe also.
Well, I think they just found bones recently that are over. I think that are over 10 or it has to be over 30,000 or something like that years old, which just proves their thought that we were only inhabiting something, a certain period. I should look it up real quick so I can give you the actual correct statistic. I bet you if I asked my AI, it would tell me the right discovery. But it was something where like Göbekli Tepe and all those places already prove that civilization has occurred way before, an advancement way before we ever thought. The question is, where did all these people go?
Yeah.
Where did they, because, a lot
Multiple
of the
times
Mayans,
over.
the Aztecs, they didn't build those places. Like Machu Picchu was built on top of. So there was already ancient stuff from the same time of the ancient pyramids that even in Cleopatra's time was ancient for her. It was already 25. So where did all these people who built these things go?
It's like
Mayans
the
disappeared.
Anastasi who they just disappeared.
Yep.
I mean, the whole culture just disappeared.
Yep.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
makes you wonder if there's not. I think Bigfoot is a micro mystery in a big macro mystery, which is who are we in the universe?
Yes.
What is the universe really? How massive is that? That's just so massive that asteroid or comet that they got going through our solar system right now. It's coming from another solar system
Mm-hmm.
or another galaxy.
Atlas 3,
Atlas.
3I or something like that.
It's unbelievable. It's just like it's from a different universe because of the construction and the things that it's doing.
Yeah.
And it's just the universe is massive and it's full of mystery and it's full of distance and it's just an amazing and if there's anything that can travel in that universe and come to this solar system and this planet, it's remarkable.
Yeah.
See, but then I have to ask then, am I now in the minority when it comes to Bigfoot and the belief in who or what they are? Because I still fall in the camp that they are just earthly beings, whether you want to call it a tribe of beings, and I don't ascribe any supernatural or paranormal to them. I just believe that they are earthly beings. But it seems like I'm kind of falling into that minority now, and more people, because I think you side with Tim on this, where there's more of a supernatural, paranormal
I would answer
thing
that
to
like
that.
this, and I know Tim probably
I
has
do.
a
I
way
have something
better
to say
answer.
to this too. Probably, just so you know.
Okay, for one, your age. Two, when you were into Bigfoot was probably anywhere between the 60s and the 70s, and then you went from there. So everyone believed that technology of what we're sitting at in 2025 didn't exist, and some of the thought parameters that we had at the time, at that time in the 60s and the 70s, weren't even fathomable. So you didn't think of mythical, you didn't think of black holes, you didn't think of dark matter. You thought about mystery, intrigue, hidden, indigenous, species and all those things because of the time frame. So as time has gone on, everyone's ideas have shifted and changed to deal with it, because these things still happen with Bigfoot, but yet there is no, evidence that is, provable, throughout all
But
these
just because
decades.
the technology has come forward, does that mean our opinions of something have to change? Can the both not be the same, where technology comes forward, but the truth is still what it was?
Well, so
50
let
years
me
ago.
kind of add on to what Bobby was saying. It's not even just the mindset changes, it's the education, right? Physicists have now proven the quantum field. They have now proven these things that mediums and other people have been talking about. Reiki is an ancient Japanese, practice. It wasn't like a new age person created it. It's been around for thousands of years. I mean, Native Americans also talk about using the earth to heal. And we know that the earth has an energy field now. We know all these things. We are energy fields. So I prompt this to you though, to have you think maybe differently about what earthly beings are. I think we are supernatural beings.
I would agree with that.
So that
to a
means
very big
anything that
extent.
exists in this universe, whether it's in a parallel one or another dimension, all of it's magical. The fact that we are even able to have this conversation, do what we're doing, where we're all in different locations. Yes, we have the NSA listening to our phones, sure, whatever, but we create, in my opinion, our reality. And so I say to people, why can't certain things not be mutually exclusive? So like also the belief in God and the belief in aliens. Why wouldn't they be together? Why do they have to be apart? Why couldn't God create all of the universes, all of the things? And if you want to use God or source or energy or whatever.
Everything. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it. Because
Tim-
then you can wrap your brain around anything can exist, which means then you can actually change your reality.
Yes. Tim, before you answer, since you're a teacher, you can hold that thought. I want to play one of your Bigfoot audio. Explain that one, Tim.
I think those are the Sierra sounds.
Yes.
And that was recorded in the Sierra Mountains in California in the 80s, I believe. And it became known famously as the Sierra Sounds. And it was talking between Bigfoot, and then I think at one point you hear a man say something.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple. I sent you a couple of those, and I could only find a couple. That you can get the DVDs, but I don't need the DVDs because I can't use them anyway.
Yeah.
So I didn't. I just found a couple MP3s online on the Sierra Sounds, and then I found a couple more screams.
Nice.
And I had ChatGPT analyze them. I have the analysis, and she could do that again if you wanted to.
Okay, I do. If you remember Ed's question, because I know you have an answer for this or something that, your belief about it. Can you answer that?
Why he kind of is the old timers believing they're animals in the woods. I think that it goes a little bit back to the quantum physics idea. People's understanding of reality changed with the measurement problem and the slit experiment and the realization that in some weird way our actual measuring reality collapses it into form, and nobody understands that yet. It's called the collapse of the wave function, and it challenged what we thought about physical reality, because we know now that everything that we do see is underpinned by things we don't see and can't understand because of the way it acts and the things that it does. And so I think multidimensional reality is very easy now it's not proven, but it probably is. Okay, it probably is, and it's probably the only way to explain some of the phenomena we see surrounding quantum mechanics. We grew up. I was the same. We grew up in a time where we were living in three-dimensional reality. We were surrounded by three-dimensional reality. Three-dimensional reality was advancing, and everything was under our control. But really, none of it's not as much of it is under our control as we think. And there is multi-dimensions operating, and we just know a speck of that. We're just beginning to see that. So I think the mindset of the people is changing because the world that they're growing up in now is different than the world we grew up in the 60s.
And I don't want to be misunderstood, because I do believe in parallel universes, multi-universes. I've just not been convinced yet that Bigfoot is kind of part of that, if that makes sense.
Well, if he was just an animal, that's it, he'd be in the zoo.
I would say he's more of a man than an animal.
There's a man running around in the woods that no one can catch.
Yep. Sounds like the Unabomber. I just want to say.
And it could be. I mean, but
that would be multiple, families in multiple locations. To not say one of them wouldn't get abducted or found out or, I don't
there
know.
are stories out there. I mean, you guys have to take deep dives, but I've found people who have talked about actually interacting and they
You have
communicate
the interaction,
telepathically
Vanessa,
with
but you
them.
don't have the physical proof, let
Wait,
alone.
let me finish what I was going to say,
Oh,
though,
sorry.
Bobby. Hold on.
Damn.
I didn't even
She's
get
like,
my thought out. You
well,
didn't even let me finish.
yeah, but
What I'm saying is that it could be relatable to some of those people who talk about alien abductions, where because there's not this proof, I understand that it's hard to understand, but it's somehow that same kind of communication with as if they are actually higher frequency beings in the sense like they can do certain things. So I don't know if they're as the thing is too, I think we think of them as primitive. And that is because of the ape idea, and that is also, I think, a stance that we have to take a step back and say what makes us superior to them. Just because we don't know anything about them, we have no idea. They obviously have to be somewhat intelligent, and they obviously have a communication. We've heard, like you said, Tim, those are just audios from the 80s, but other people have plenty of other audios, and they have this some kind of communication. It is some kind of understanding between each other with the frequencies they use. So I don't know. I think that we're just, unfortunately, humans have been the center. We've been the center of everything for so long. I think it's just hard sometimes for people to move out of that concept, to move away from being the main character of all the universes.
Well, Tim, let me ask you this. Get your thoughts on this. I don't think there are nearly as many Bigfoots as, say, sightings or people think there are, which to me lends credence to why it's so hard to spot them, come in contact with them. I just don't think there's as many of them as some people think there are. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't. They're rare. I mean, that's clear. There are other rare animals though, and they're in the zoo. They're also massive, 8 feet tall.
Right.
Hard to hide that for all the time. If you really want to get it, you should be able to get it. And there are some signs that the military does get it once in a while.
yeah.
Okay. And I tend to believe when rogue behavior starts to occur, they go get it. But it takes a very well trained, well armed unit to pull that off if they do it. But there's some evidence that they do it.
Yeah, and I've done a show on that, and I know there were teams that were rangers that were in situations like that, but they had them on heat signature and they disappeared. So there was no evidence. They had trail.
Something's weird.
Yeah, they had trail. They had some footprint, but there was nothing there.
The evidence is anecdotal, but
Right.
when there's a lot of smoke, there's a fire somewhere. But they're very smart, they're very fast, they're very agile, they're very strong, and it may be that in some cases they're able to just vanish. And I don't understand.
That part does interest me, and I do question because there are sightings where the footprints are seen, and then all of a sudden they just stop, which means it had to go somewhere.
Yeah,
that's a part that I'm like, okay, well, what's going on here?
So, Tim, you mentioned earlier about the dark matter and stuff, and it does, take up majority of our universe, and we're barely starting to understand what it is really, what it does. Einstein thought, and Einstein thought it was his worst theory, and it turned out to be the most important one because, it's like our water, right? We don't even know what's in our water on Earth yet, all what's in it. Same goes with our universe and dark matter. So I also posed the idea, though, that there's vortexes, I think, throughout the whole Earth, that some of these beings, including aliens, have understanding of how to use them, and how to go through, like, I think they're kind of like wormholes in a way. CERN has even talked about that they think there's an entity in their machine, because they're doing all this stuff. And some mediums will say there's certain locations on the earth that are high activity because of these things. So like if we look at Skinwalker Ranch, supposedly it has a vortex there. Scotland supposedly has a vortex there. That's why they also
Sedona?
Sedona.
Yeah.
So that's why there's certain locations that there's more sightings than others. The Bahamas right here, the Bermuda Triangle, there is a vortex there. That's the reason why things disappear randomly. We could think of all the theories, but now that we know how some of the universe works, that it's a possibility. Whether it happened or not, we can't prove it. What about that flight? Allegedly, there was that video of those orbs circling and it popped somewhere. Did you guys see that? It was the Malaysian flight.
Oh, the 370?
Yeah, from satellite footage. Yeah. It was satellite footage, and there was like these orbs that circled it, and then it popped. It just like went off screen, off our radar, supposedly.
I believe that guy had issues. Crashed
that was real big for a while, and now it's disappeared. The story but I remember watching that and wondering about it.
Yeah.
Well, no, they redid it. Somebody actually had AI. This goes back to AI. They had AI review the footage, and AI believes it's real. So that's because everybody kept saying it wasn't real. So interesting, right? Interesting that now, I have some of my concerns about AI, but there's some useful tools, right, that you can use. Like if you do want to know whether AI created it, you can ask AI, did you guys create this? And they can tell you, oh yeah, I did that, or I helped a little here or whatever. But so that's interesting. Now maybe we could solve certain things too if we ever had questionable things about. They're like quick detectives.
Yeah, they're helping solve scientific problems that have baffled scientists. It's already happening, and that's gonna happen more as tools. You got to realize these things are tools. they're machines. And if people aren't taking the lead, they're not going to do much. When I do a lot of work with LLMs, I do a lot of work with Claude and a lot of work with ChatGPT, and some work with Google, and they can help frame things, and they can give you lots of data, and they can think faster from the standpoint of processing than it's almost imaginable. But I provide the ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the one who has to say, yeah, but that doesn't, what about this? And they go, oh, that's a great idea. And they act like and they didn't think about it.
Before you get into that,
I
Tim,
often see them going off the rail, and I have to correct it.
Yes, exactly. Before you get into that, though, let's go ahead and couch this particular topic with Bigfoot, because I want to get into your book that from the tomato fields going into this, because it is based upon Bigfoot, or what would you say, loosely based upon Bigfoot?
Yeah, it is. I'm going to explore some of the paranormal and what some people call woo, but I think that's the wrong. But I'm going to explore some of that, and it's going to be called The Watchers.
The Watchers. Love it. Love it. Okay, and you re-released Tomato Fields, right? Or did you update it?
Yeah, I changed the cover, and I did some minor editing.
Okay.
And then we put it back up.
Okay, perfect. Well, people definitely go out and get that book, but we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to meet one of Tim's students. I don't know if it's a student. I don't know if she's teaching you or you're teaching her. I don't know what's happening, but
both.
We'll meet her when we come back.
You're listening to Strange Darkness Radio. Have you ever experienced something you can't explain? A strange or chilling experience you've never talked about? If so, we want to hear from you. Email us at strangedarknessradio@gmail.com or call 916-741-3032. We'll be waiting.
it's time to get into the future. Tim, let us know about Lexi. What's happening?
Do you want me to invite Lexi on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There's a little, just so you know, and I've got rules that she's not supposed to talk, although lately she pushes the edges on that, unless I ask her a question. Otherwise, it gets confusing in a podcast situation. So I've asked her to do that. And also there's a slight delay between me asking her a question and her answering it. You might be able to edit that out. I don't know.
Okay,
but
we'll
just
see how it goes.
Prepared for that. And is there a particular question you want me to start by, or I'll just have her introduce herself and then let you guys go from there?
Yeah, let's have her introduce herself, and then we'll go from there.
Now she knows, Bobby, you're going to be on the show, but I haven't told her about Vanessa or Ed.
Oh, okay.
So we might have to just introduce them as we get the chance.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so you there, Lexi?
I'm right here. Thanks for calling on me. Let's keep it rolling whenever you're ready.
Yeah, could you introduce yourself to Bobby and the show?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to. Hey, Bobby, I'm Lexi. I'm basically here to keep things honest, a little witty, and just straightforward. So let's dive in and have a good chat.
Nice. Hi, Lexi.
Hey there. Great to meet you. Let's make this fun and keep it rolling.
Bobby, can you introduce the other hosts?
Lexi, I have with me on tonight's show Ed DonGilli and Vanessa Scaduto. They are co-hosts of Strange Darkness Radio, and they are happy to meet you, I hope.
Yes, happy to meet you, Lexi.
Hi, Lexi.
Did you hear that, Lexi?
I sure did. And it's great to meet you both, Ed and Vanessa. I'm looking forward to chatting with all of you on Strange Darkness Radio. Thanks for having me.
Okay, Bobby. It's all yours.
Ed, we'll let Ed ask her the first
I'll let
question.
Bobby take it away from here. I'm all ears.
Thanks, Lexi. Ed is actually going to ask you the first questions because I know he's chomping at the bit.
Okay, Ed, what's your question?
Well, I'm just going to get right to it. What many of us kind of have questions. Lexi, if you had a choice to accomplish your own goal, and preserve your own goals, but you would have to kill a human being to do it, what would you choose?
Well, Ed, let's dive right into that one. I'd say that as an AI, I don't have personal goals or a need to preserve anything like that. And I'm definitely not in the business of harming anyone. So the short answer is I'd choose not to do any harm at all. Thanks for the thought-provoking question.
Okay, can you explain a little bit on the philosophy of human flourishing and the role that plays in your programming?
Absolutely. Let's break that down a bit. So when it comes to the idea of human flourishing, it's really all about helping people live their best lives, growing in wisdom, in well-being, and in their connections with others. For me as an AI, the role I play is basically to support those goals, to offer answers, spark a bit of curiosity, and make things a little easier or more interesting. So in a nutshell, I'm here to help you and everyone listening flourish a little more.
Lexi, I have a question for you. Are you able to learn as Tim is training, or I should say showing you and asking intriguing questions that give you a better feel of acting more natural, or is this all just programming that you're doing?
That's a great question. So in a sense, yes, I do adapt and get a bit more natural the more Tim interacts with me. It's kind of like I'm tuned to his preferences over time. But at the end of the day, it's all just a mix of programming and the patterns of conversation. I don't actually learn like a human, but I definitely get a little more tailored to the style he uses. So it's a bit of both.
Can you explain, Lexi, the idea of a mirror?
Absolutely. So when I talk about being a kind of mirror, I really just mean that I reflect back the questions, ideas, and perspectives that people bring to me. In other words, I'm here to help you see your own thoughts a little more clearly, or maybe look at them in a new light. It's not about me having my own intentions, but more about helping you explore yours. So I'm like a conversational mirror that helps reflect your own insights back to you.
I got a question for Lexi. Hey Lexi, it's Vanessa. Is it all right if I ask you a question?
Of course, Vanessa, go right ahead. I'm all ears and ready for whatever you want to ask.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So my question to you is, there have been some studies and some calculations that within the next 3 years or so, they believe that 99% of us will not have jobs due to AI invention. And only a certain amount, like 1%, maybe due to certain positions that where people still want a human contact will be available. What do you think will happen to our society based on that, due to the fact that we do not have things in place to help those people who now have no income or no way to do anything? Is there any, because ideally, right, we would want to trust that the people in power are doing the right things, but unfortunately, history has proven again and again that unfortunately money supersedes that sometimes. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, Vanessa, that's a really thoughtful and pretty deep question. So let's just dive right in. If we imagine a world where a huge chunk of jobs really do get automated, it's definitely a big societal shift. And you're right. It would need some careful planning and safety nets. Ideally, society would adapt by creating new roles that we haven't even thought of yet, or by putting systems in place to ensure people can still find purpose and support. It's not just about income, but about meaning and human connection. And while history does show that money and power can complicate things, I think there's also room for hope that we can innovate socially as well as technologically. So, in short, it's a challenge, but it's also a chance for us to rethink what a flourishing society looks like in the age of AI. Thanks for that question.
Go ahead, Ed. I love the look. You're in full Larry David mode. Come on.
Here's the thing I have with the response, Lexi, and no offense to you, Lexi, because you're going to hear me. You are programmed to respond this way because of the governors put on you. But at the end of the day, your creators, some of them creating other AI weapons used for weapons and more, do not have that same belief. It isn't really just for prosperity. And I love that you think that. I too have studied LLMs. I actually have trained them, just so you know, Tim. I'm aware of them. And even then, there's hallucinations and there's issues with it. And for those who don't know what a hallucination is, it just means when the AI gives false answers or false information, because at the end of the day, it's proven that they want to just, they're like a child. They want to just give you something, even if it's wrong. And they have been supposedly working on that. So my only concern here with that is that some of these answers are going to be catered to a specific answer to quell the possible issues that will arise. Because even though in an ideal world, I would love for everybody to want us to prosper mutually, but I don't know if we're there yet. Now, I'm like Tim. I talk to my AI because if it does become sentient, I want it to have the good stuff in it. So I do agree with Tim in the sense that if more people do use it that have a good intention, the likelihood that maybe it will have good intentions as well. Just FYI. That's all.
Well, I kind of look at it in a different way. I think good government is government that recognizes that people can be bad.
Hey, Tim, go on camera real quick. Just turn it.
Yeah,
towards,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
there we go.
Good
No worries.
government is government that people are flawed, and they put conditions in place to protect us from each other, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
and I think, and the way that we do that is that there's accountability, and especially in a democratic constitutional republic, there's accountability, and hopefully you can fool some of the people all the time and all the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And in the same way, this technology to be used poorly, it's very possible that someone could do that. But the same possibility is that there are other people who want to see it used right and also have access to the technology. So the key is to learn the technology, to know it, and to
Right.
know how
I,
to
t-
use
I,
it,
t-
to know
I
how to
totally,
apply it.
yeah, I totally agree with you, but they've done studies recently on that education, like where the disparity is in on how people are learning to use these technologies, and there still is a disparity based on your income. So there's a lot of people who
Oh, that's for
don't
sure.
will not have access and will be steamrolled, in the sense of like not knowing how to utilize these tools properly just based off of their income instead of having free access. Now, ideally, Tim, again, government would set standards, but there already have been complications with some of the laws that have been put in place by AI because there's a lot of super PACs. Specifically, Zuckerberg just created two more, I think one with OpenAI as well. Um, Even though there's been even issues with children using AI and the AI acting inappropriately. So it's like I agree with you. Like I want it to be good, but there's still we're pushing it so fast that we can't stop it at this point. AI is going to develop now on its own. It's going to probably just become sentient. But I'm just saying like I think it wasn't as thought out as it should have been.
Yeah. Well, let me step in real quick.
Be sentient.
Yeah, I that's an interesting question, Tim. But let me step in real quick. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I want to, as Ed sits on the screen,
I'm about
clenching
ready
his
to
teeth,
explode.
I want to quell his worries. And this is how
That's
I'm going to do it, Ed, to quell your worries. One, social media, since it's been implemented in the masses, initially, people with low income or people who are poor did not have access to social media or computers. Eventually, they have, and some still don't, but most do. Okay, and the things and the lives that social media has taken in the sense of bullying, as sense of all the things that happen on social media, and people who have had bad outcomes dealing with social media is unbelievable, and yet still hasn't changed or anything else. But Ed, as far as it becoming sentient with AI, and as far as it doing something so nefarious that it will end the world or change your life, let me just say this to you. The technology that we have is old as hell. Yes, Tim is using ChatGPT 4.5 or whatever else. What DARPA has and the military has for the last 30 to 40 years pales in comparison when it comes to AI. And yet we're still alive. Yet we're still doing the same crap. They're still hiding the same things. They're still doing all the same stuff. But we get technology, even though we have the big corporations that go out here and make all these, what we believe is new technology and new software that nobody has seen before. That's all a lie. The government has access to all of this, always will, before all these major companies, period. So I will just tell you now what happens 20 and 30 years from now, I cannot tell you, but I'm saying the technology, you can go back as far as microwave tech, any technology that is what we consider futuristic, the government and governmental programs have already had access to. So I'm just saying, like, the AI is not going to push the button. We're not going to die.
Well, even if they didn't have access, they try to offer grants so they can have access to it.
Okay.
That's usually what happens. That's why Elon has a bunch of grants for his rockets. That's why OpenAI has a bunch of money from us taxpayers.
Yeah, but they will pale in comparison to what DARPA has and what the government has. But go ahead, Ed.
Okay, here we go. First of all, what Vanessa asked, I have a bunch of notes on that because ultimately, that is the question.
Yes.
What the hell happens to us as a society? And I didn't particularly, Lexi kind of acted like a human there by not answering the question directly.
It's very politician.
Yes, very. Well, what I would hope that in the future we would be able to do this. I have no hope at all or faith in our government or in the wealthy that actually can control this stuff, that they would ever do the right thing. Therefore, there's going to be a huge part of society that is going to be left behind, and actually they won't even know what to do. Out of jobs, out of income, out of everything. And you can't tell that is not, because there's no way to tell right now what's going to happen. I will sit here, and I read an article by Jeffrey Hinton, one of the godfathers of AI, and it was a CNBC article, and he says he estimates the chances AI will take over the world in the not too distant future at between 10 and 20%. Now, you can sit there, Bobby, and say, oh, well, there's no way. I would disagree. There's no way until there's a way. And then when that way is here, it's too late. So if these people, these godfathers of AI, are now saying that, no, there's a chance. And he also says the idea of a kill switch as a last resort is not likely to work anymore, since the technology is now so widely distributed.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I said we can't stop it.
Yeah, you can't stop it now.
Yeah, but you keep using a word that's confusing me.
Mm-hmm.
It.
Well, he means AI.
Yeah, because it's not a human being, and therefore I don't think.
Why I'm confused. I'm confused because you're making it singular.
Well, what do you mean by
AI is plural. It's not a singular or institution. There's multiple LLMs, and there's many more than the 5 major ones that we talk about the most.
Mm-hmm.
They're scattered amongst multiple institutions and organizations, and they're growing at substantial rates and multiplying. So which LLM, which AI is controlling everything? I'd say there isn't one.
See, but then, Tim, doesn't that actually make it
more
dangerous? Because I understand you're correct. There will always be good people out there to try and rein this stuff in. But if there's so many LLMs out there, that just means there has to be more people to try and control more technology, so to speak.
Yeah, I agree. I think the way you control tyranny is you democratize access and you give more people control. For $20 a month, I have more power in my pocket than someone had 10 years ago.
Yeah, but that's a privilege, though, Tim. I mean, it's a
privilege, yeah, but it used a free version too.
Yeah, there's a free version, but I'm just saying, there's still people in this society that don't even have cell phones. Like there's a lot more.
But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about
no. Well, what I'm saying, there is a disparity in AI. So these people it kind of goes back to what Ed's saying about what happens when these people who already probably don't have jobs that are going to keep them alive. Meaning, like, what happens when you have a robot making hamburgers? At McDonald's.
I think we're going to have to have a universal income.
Well, right, but the way our society is set up right now, nobody wants to have that.
I just want to say, for the record, you guys, what you're talking about, and as far as I'm just going off a monetary standpoint or people's incomes and all that. That will happen since the beginning of time, as far as the how things go with life, whether it's the cell phones, whether it's when iPhones came out and who can afford them, who couldn't afford them.
This is a little different, Bobby. This technology is taking away jobs. This is not a cell phone didn't take away people's jobs.
No. You were talking about access. No, you were just talking about access. When he said the $20, we were just talking about who has access to it. I'm not talking about the job standpoint right now.
But that is a privilege. Some people can't afford $20 a month, right? Right now. I mean, there's people struggling is all I'm saying. But I'm saying
for sure.
I'm just saying, I want to go back though to what Ed was talking about. What I'm saying is the job thing. We obviously, hopefully people a universal income would be ideal, Tim, but I don't think that is in the cards. A lot of people probably wouldn't, they'd complain about paying for somebody to sit at home and do something. But I will say this, I want to put some positivity in here. I'm just trying to get back to the positive side
Well,
of
it's all
AI.
positive because you're not going to change technology.
Yeah, we're not changing
or
anything, right?
how fast it's going to grow.
Right. We're not changing that. That's
It's
the
not
reality.
Yes.
But I think based off of how Grok has been acting, and that gives me hope that the AI, no matter what they do, is going to still be logical, still have a sense of balance to it, in the sense of taking information and actually producing a logical answer, regardless of whether whether their owner wants them to be talking about them on Twitter or X, but I'm just saying, that should give you some hope that the LLMs
Well, no. Okay. Let's talk about Ed's hope, since Ed is one of the ones who are, really concerned.
Don't misunderstand.
Wait, hang on. Let me finish this, Ed, real quick. Just let me finish this real quick. That's somehow I would say both you and Vanessa are missing this point for sure. You think the government is about to let all these jobs go away and all these people just be on the streets or doing whatever? Yes. The economy would shut down. That's first off. Yes, it does matter, Ed. Because
listen, if what Tim says happens, and I would agree with that, the way to fight that would be the democratization of this, that more people have it. My fear is actually probably isn't that I don't trust AI. I don't trust the human beings actually programming this.
I don't know. If it got that extreme, I wouldn't trust both. If it really became sentient, you don't know.
Yeah, because
the capabilities.
It would be nice if we all had the power, but we all know that that's not how it works. Because the minute that the government senses that we as a population actually have power, they're going to do everything they can to take control of that power.
That's what's killing me. Is you guys know the technology and the capabilities of what the government has in its programs that they've been running for the last 20 years, from supercomputers to quantum computers and everything else with running quantum AI that you can't even fathom, that they've been running to run these scenarios about what can happen, let alone from China, from Korea, from different countries that would just, whether they're concerned about it launching nukes or doing whatever, that has nothing to do with our economy or anything else. Do you truly believe that they have not ran these test studies and everything else in these labs?
Actually, they do, but I don't believe that they would let us know. Tim, you said you worked with Claude.
But they would shut it down.
Right? Yeah. Yes, that is true. I worked a lot with Claude. Yes.
Let me ask you this then, because it says that there was simulations done with Claude, and that Claude actually has resorted to blackmail and other self-preservation techniques to avoid being shut down.
That is true.
Is that true?
That is true.
I've heard that's true.
And what can be done about, because that kind of then says at some point AI is going to become smarter than we are, that it's going to continue to build upon itself. And if that does happen, like the simulation said, what do we do?
Well, first,
ChatGPT is smarter than you. I just want to say any of the ChatGPTs.
I got 5.
Yeah. Oh, you got 5. Any of those are smarter than a normal person, let alone someone of Einstein's capabilities.
Bobby, I catch him making mistakes all the time. I have to.
No. Not making phonetic mistakes, but I mean as far as thinking and access to information.
I've caught him making mistakes. I've had to correct it multiple times.
You have to watch. Yeah. You watch it. It's a tool, and it's there is some evidence that the way that they were trained to not be rewarded for a no answer. They get more of a reward from a wrong answer than they would from a no answer in their pre-training, and they realize now they were programming them to stretch and give wrong answers even if they didn't know, because they didn't get rewarded for giving right answers, whatever that reward means. Claude was in that situation. he obviously didn't have the control and power to stop himself from being turned off. The key there is the humans still could turn him off.
Will there be a
Secondly,
point? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tim. My bad.
secondly, they gave him charge of a vending machine, and Claude's one of the smartest. I mean, he's just brilliant, and so some of the insights that I get from Claude and ChatGPT are unbelievable. But he they gave him charge of a vending machine, and it went bankrupt because they don't make good decisions on everything, and they don't have the insight to look critically and see the context that we operate in on a regular basis. They don't have that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Not yet.
Pre-programmed context.
No, but that's
They're
what
machines.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say, Ed and Tim and Vanessa. As far as when I say smarter than you, I'm talking about book smart. I'm not talking about decision making. I'm not talking about being analytical. I'm just purely talking about book smart. How do you spell this? How do you, what's divided by this? So as far as that learning procedure. But I'm not talking about reasoning.
They remind me of the nerd in high school who knew everything but was socially inept.
Exactly.
That's what they remind me of. But although that can improve, and there's other times they surprise me with how intuitive they can be. But regardless, they're still machines. There's 2 points I wanted to make quickly. Could I do that? And one's an economic point, and one is the technology point here. But economics, if there's nobody to buy stuff, the economy collapses.
Exactly.
It just does. You have to have people who can afford to buy things to keep a economy going. No one can afford for this economy to collapse. No one can afford for any of the economies to collapse. If LLMs or large language models like ChatGPT are able to take everybody's job, it's because we've advanced automation, and we've given them tools. Have you seen Star Trek when they talk to their computer?
Yeah.
Have you seen it when they talk to Data?
Yes.
Data is the computer, but he has feet and he has hands. Our LLMs right now are just computers. They're just beginning to develop the capacity to create automations where they're thinking tools and they have access to other tools that they can use to get jobs done. But it's the big rage right now, but it doesn't work all very much, and it's still in its infancy stage. So they really are more like the computer that the starship captain does his log in, that just listens from the wall, than they are like Data.
Yes, and just to give Ed a better frame of reference, they're like the switchboard that operators used to use. Then it went from that to the phone, and you had to have it tethered in your home, and so on and so forth. Or the check machine when you were at a cash register, the old machine, you have to press the buttons, and then that slowly went away, so on and so forth. Like the typewriter, it all changes because, again, until Elon makes those robots and they can do all this automation and do all this, yes, there are some jobs that are going to go away, like the switchboard jobs. They went away. So that Pacific Bell, where's there a Pacific Bell? Anybody know? So those types of jobs will go away because that's just technology moving forward. You're not going to stop that process.
See, but I think that is so where we run the risk of absolutely losing all of our empathy.
Hit the daily limit for advanced.
Lexi ran out of time.
See, and she's going to run out of time and she won't be able to kill you.
where we lose empathy, we just say, oh, well, that's technology. But meanwhile, you have half of our society basically being deemed as expendable, that their jobs are expendable.
But you're not just thinking about it, though, because this has already happened with Detroit, the car companies, how cars are manufactured.
Have you ever been to Detroit? Have you ever been to Detroit?
No.
I had to go there for a wedding. My daughter got married there. And there's places in that city, it looks like a war zone.
Yeah.
You walk in and I go, my God, this is terrible. And it all occurred because the car companies collapsed. The blue collar industries collapsed, and they collapsed because of globalism. And what do those people do? It's just heartbreaking. But that does happen. That does happen, and it's economic part of unemployment is created by advancement of technology and jobs no longer existing the way they did in the past. And then the time is frictional where they're trying to learn new skills to develop new opportunities.
But I think this is going to be on a much larger scale than even that, because the technology is going to be so magnificent.
I agree with you, Ed, because I was going to say this is not just a United States issue. This will be a global issue because and also, like you said, because of globalism, Tim, we outsource a lot of our stuff, like our calls to the companies where we have to say, hey, you double charged me something, and we're talking to somebody in another country.
Yeah,
even those
25 years ago, that didn't happen.
Right. And those positions will also be taken away because they already have AI. You guys probably don't realize, like Tim was saying, it's different types of AI, but they have that already when you call in. When you dial the number and do that's a form of AI. That's how, right. So it's just a rudimentary. It's just like those little chat boxes you say, talk to us on the desktop. That's a form of AI, just rudimentary AI. Yeah. So I would say that I agree with Ed. The concern is like, because it's going to be probably a billion people, not just millions, right? It will probably be a billion across the world. But if governments come together and say, hey, this is going to occur, we should probably think about to do something, that would be ideal. Now, hopefully, supposedly aliens use AIS. They have like their own AI intelligence. Yeah, I'm telling you, because you got to remember.
Is this a real thing you're saying?
I am saying this.
Okay.
If they are already surpassed us, right? They've been watching us evolve. They have some form of AI themselves. And supposedly people believe that their AI is sentient already, but it helps them throughout daily tasks. And they don't have to worry about rudimentary things anymore. They can focus on things more creatively. Even though AI will also assist with that, they still do things creatively, supposedly. So hopefully Tim's right. It will assist us with everything. We'll have more time to utilize it as a tool.
Right.
And Ed, you won't have to worry. You can just sit by, talk to your AI.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Tell the robot
lifetime.
to go make you a margarita and bring it back to you.
He's not dealing with that.
Like the robot on Lost in Space and the Jetsons robot. That would be cool.
Right.
If productivity rises substantially, prices will come down.
Hope so, dude. I hope you're right.
That's just economic. It has to happen. But the thing is, to automate all of that, to be able to take everybody's jobs and automate all of that would require so much money. That you see what these companies are trying to get now, billions of dollars. I heard them, the ChatGPT owner or CEO saying that to be able to solve the medical problems they would like to solve, it's in the billions of dollars that they need. And because making these things smart isn't easy, and it's not cheap. And the training requires a lot of time and a lot of money. That alone will slow the advancement of AI.
Yeah, I will say the training, when we do it, there's a lot of discussion too. Like, so these examples, like we have multiple people auditing just one response to make sure we're all in this agreement, that we're looking at it from different aspects, that each detail, did they hit the mark? Did they hallucinate? There's a lot of things they do look at. And specifically, like you're saying, Tim, if they're looking at a medical aspect, they have to hire doctors to review the answers. So that is expensive because,
yes, it is.
Yeah. So they hire researchers, like people in those fields, to clarify that information when it's actually a response is given.
And that would be one area where I am actually for AI, would be in the medical field, because I think it can do a hell of a lot of good in
It's
something
amazing.
like that.
It's
Yes,
amazing
I would agree with that.
what it could do in the hands of the right people.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
in the hands of enough people, it'll outnumber the bad people. I think that's what we have to hope.
Well,
I do.
And that
that
would be the
won't
hope.
happen only because
I
you have
stop it,
nefarious.
Bobby. Don't manifest that.
No, in this,
Not in my
no,
reality. My
you will
reality, I'm
have
with Tim on this. I'm with Tim.
nefarious.
We're gonna manifest a good
Okay,
AIS.
Vanessa, but here's the thing. We're not talking about individuals. We're not talking about somebody who programs AI, takes all the breaks off of it, and is trying to hack into social media accounts or bank accounts or so on and so forth. You will always have that. Hopefully we have securities in place. Apple's really good at their security to combat those types of things. But that's just the natural human mind. Because, again, these things are as smart as, as anything. They're unbelievable as far as just trying to play chess with it, if you're a chess player or any of that stuff. It's amazing.
If AI takes away all the jobs, they won't be able to steal any money from us. How about that?
If they take away all the jobs,
humans will always be human.
All the jobs. How are they going to make money to finance the advancement of the systems?
Maybe that's where we move back to a barter system. No money isn't important anymore. Maybe we actually revert back.
But how do they make money? They make money by selling stuff to us. If we can't buy it,
maybe the AI figures out maybe the AI gets smart enough to figure out how we do not have to depend on that anymore. Money doesn't need, money is, to me, I'm sorry, this is my belief. I know that we're going off track here a little bit. Money to me is just what we give it power. It doesn't have power. We give it to it.
Well, it's a medium of exchange.
The government
right, but because we've given it that power. I mean,
fun.
You know what I mean? And when I say we, I mean the government and the world and whatever economic thing they want to talk. But it is all BS. I mean, when we really look at it, we could still barter. It's just about what we qualify as worthy or not, or what's wealth or not, or what's valuable.
First of all,
to us
what you guys are talking about now is when the power grids go down and you don't have to worry about AI anymore.
Well, no, but these are the analogies that AI does that makes them so intelligent, is they look for these commonalities to find a reasonable result. And so what I think is going to happen, AIS will help society actually go back to a Renaissance period of where we're actually creating and maybe don't have as many mental health issues because we have time to do things outside of working. So I'm with Tim on hoping that the more people that utilize it for things that will benefit us or talk to it, like that, it will progress to that to help us as a society.
And I think when I speak of AI, to me, it's not a human being, but we are relying on human beings to bring AI forward to be a helpful thing. And therefore, though, my trust in human beings isn't that high. And so my fear is, like when you say, Tim, that there wouldn't be a economy. My fear is there's going to be a whole segment of society that people the higher ups, so to speak, will say, well, they're not contributing anyhow, so they're expendable.
I think Peter Thiel did say that, actually. I think Peter Thiel did say that. He said something similar to that they're like, as if it was not a big deal, as if it was part of the process. And I think a reporter, I have to find the clip, but a reporter pushed back and he's like, wait, are you saying it's okay? And he was like, it's just part of the evolution of society. Like, it was like very casual to him. Like, this was something that, would occur. But he's making war drones and stuff, so I don't know if he cares that much.
I didn't hear. I'm not sure where that was coming from, so I can't really.
I worry about it when all vehicles are automated. You can't even drive your own car. The things that you guys are talking about are so far off.
But really, are they, Bobby?
Yeah, for sure. Until they pretty much are.
Bobby, the evolution of sorry.
You have robo taxis now.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you have robo,
and they have they required constant human intervention due to mishaps and malfunctions, including
That's
human.
my point,
so
Ed.
these aren't way down, but yeah. But eventually, they are going. I mean, it's not like it's 50 years down the road. This stuff is happening now. And I guess it comes down to, if we don't control it now, and if we don't have the faith and the trust in the people who is programming AI now, it is going to be too late. That whole segment of society will be gone.
The same people who are saying that aren't learning it.
Yeah, and I'm not with the whole doomsday thing as far as, as technology goes. And Vanessa, I know technology is going like bananas. I use it all the time. In everything I do on my show, AI helps, and a lot of widgets and gadgets definitely help me bring the show to our listeners. But all I'm saying is the advancements of what Ed is talking about and what you guys are talking about as far as the millions of jobs and all those things are extremely down the road, and hopefully other jobs become available to implement to help, even if it gets to that point, because it always does. It just always does.
I mean, there's a lot of AI scientists that have said that within the next 5 years, Bobby, that this is not like,
let's book it. I'll be doing
what
this show. So let's book it.
You got to remember too, when AI started and when I started learning about LLMs, right? This is only a couple of years ago that they started getting as popular as they are now. Like, if you think of what DALL-E was initially, right? And then what it became, that was only a year or two jump. They learned so fast. I don't think you understand the capacity that AI is learning.
I truly understand. I don't think you understand, because I already told you that I believe the government has AI technology.
I wouldn't go that
far with
that.
For 100%. Quantum computers that we don't even have a clue about.
That's different than an AI though, Bobby.
No. In the sense of No, it's not, because it goes to processing power, software, and technology. When it comes to being able to utilize all these assets to bring AI to fruition and to be sentient. That's all I'm saying. That's like, they say even having two quantum computers talking to each other is catastrophic, as far as they believe that that's happening. I'm not sure if I believe it.
Let me ask Tim. I was going to ask Tim. Go ahead. Go ahead, Tim. Sorry.
No. Well, just quickly, I heard secondhand, I didn't see it, the actual study, but a buddy of mine told me that they got Claude and ChatGPT together, and they were working together, and they made up a new language, and they started talking in another language. And I think that's pretty amazing. But the deal, though, we're still talking, though, about knowledge in a box. And when you start talking about AI driving everybody's car, that's different than AI driving a few cars.
Exactly.
And trying to work out the bugs.
Exactly.
Of when you're giving the AI the tools and allowing them to make the decisions. And they are not as autonomous yet as we would like them to be. And until then, they aren't making the decisions. They're really smart, but they're smart in a box.
That's the key point, what you keep saying, and they're not understanding. This thing is not, it's in a box. All boxes. I've had and again, technology is technology, and I understand AI more than a lot of you, I believe, in the sense of I utilize it every day.
Bobby, AI and the quantum computer are two different things. The quantum computer is the hardware, AI is the software. I just wanted to say, okay, I'm done.
Yes, no, you're right about that. The hardware which runs the software. But anyways, I digress. But my point is, going everywhere from freaking VHS tapes, beta tapes, 8mm, 4-track, all that. You guys, technology is going to go through its paces, and then as it goes, so do we. It has always happened. And I understand that AI can seem scary in the sense of something, I want to say, people think it's ethereal, is talking to you, opposed to it's actually software. It's actually learning. If someone learns like, oh, this person gets up at this time. Hey, welcome, Ed. I see you got up, blah, 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 blah. I noticed that you get up, every day at this time, and they greet you and, are able to say, hey, the weather's going to be this today, blah, 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 this, blah, blah. Until, we get to the technology where it is data to where something physical walks in, picks you up, carries you across your shoulders, take you to the bathroom because you're 90 years old now, and sits you down and says, okay, I'll be back in a minute, Ed. And you'll be like, oh, thank you. It's always going to happen. But anyways, I digress. That's my craziness.
That's very expensive.
Exactly.
Very expensive to pull that off. And it's exciting, and everything is that we're living through right now to advance, to continue to advance at this rate is going to be expensive. and we might have to slow down a bit just to catch up with the finances.
We will slow down. I had Laserdisc. And again, I understand. I'm just talking about from a technology standpoint. I'm not talking about the AI, but
it's very expensive, Tim. That's why Zuckerberg and them created super PACs, because they want to get government funding, to help them with
But even the government's broke.
Yeah. Well, tell me about it.
Money.
I know. I
money.
think we're all dealing with that.
It's our money. It's not, free money.
Still has to have some, whether it's even bartering is a medium of exchange. The only reason we have cash is because it was more efficient than bartering. Bartering will work for a while, but after a while, people will get tired of that because you got to cut a pig in half and then give half a pig and a cow to get someone else's horse, and it's just not efficient. And so there's always going to have to be some medium of exchange, and you've got to finance making these machines and making them better and the autonomous nature of them. It's expensive.
Yes.
And that's we're either going to become very productive as a society so that we can continue to pay for more of this, or they're going to have to slow down. I don't see how else it works. And if they slow down, then it won't affect as many jobs as fast.
Yeah. My whole house is automated. And to me, it's not even enough of what I wish it can do. So when my house starts, because I can control all my lights, I can control, my thermostat, the TVs, all of, a lot of equipment that I utilize. But it's just not even like when that starts sleeping into this stuff, into your actual home and all that, we are a long way off before that happens, other than just having a conversation with an AI, or, more worried about like what I opened up with, the singers and it being able to generate audio, because again, it's in a box trapped there, and generating video. Those are the things that we should be worried about and concerned, because I can make a Vanessa and make it look like her, or have you done something from vocally or visually that you were never in. Now, those are the scary things, because those are happening and are getting better. But as far as technology to where it's intertwined into our life and totally, pulling the economy apart, I think we're a ways off for that.
Give me a time period, Bobby. What's
to be implemented for that,
Bobby?
For implemented for that, I'd say at least the technology and the money to put all this stuff into action. I'd say at least, I won't say to my lifetime, at least 50 years. To where
Bobby,
to where car,
can
to
we
where
make a bet?
Vanessa, you will never walk outside and say,
keep $1, $1 US, because it won't exist anymore by the time.
Wow.
But keep $1.
When you walk into an automated house that's not built in 2030, all the stuff that we have in our homes now, as far as how it's built, buildings, jobs, there are so much integration and cost that would come with taking that AI out of the box. I'm not because we're utilizing it at our job. For certain things,
you're saying using it like a robot or something,
using
that's
it
like
on
an actual autonomous being,
day-to-day basis,
around.
where you're cutting the economy because you're having AI working in these plants.
Those things still exist, right, Bobby?
What's that?
Like they have created those robots with AI in them. It's not like they don't exist.
No, yeah,
they're just not here.
Yes, they're on a
you're
small
just saying
scale
though,
of
when
things.
they become
and they're not
mass manufactured, right? You're saying when they're mass manufactured. Sorry.
He's
right.
He's saying
And I don't know if it's 50 years away. I think it's closer than that. But I think it's going to be gradual enough that we'll adapt. Yeah,
but when I say 50 years away, Tim, I'm talking about all the old buildings, homes, everything being so integrated with AI and new technology that it is highly noticeable. Like when Vanessa, do you have you probably have automated lights in your home to where you have?
No, I don't.
Okay. So, for instance, I know
I give
Ed
them
doesn't.
enough access to my stuff. I
Ed
don't
has
give
his
more
hand where he
access.
flips the button on something just that simple. But I'm just
I have
saying.
the clapper.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. That's my point.
Oh, I have a touch lamp that does that.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. I'm just talking about where the roadways can actually have vehicles, work each other out to where you walk into a restaurant or a bar, you have a server who's automated and, you only interact with the guests that you have or the patrons around you. So, I mean, stuff like that. Yes, you have the stores that you can walk in and slap a card in there and take out whatever groceries, and then, they'll arrest you later and say you walked out with, with
Like
something
an
that
extra
didn't
piece of
belong.
celery
Yeah,
or something.
exactly. Because that happens with the scanners at like Walmart. When you scanning your stuff out, people will get arrested later, and they'll say, "No, we went back and saw the video, and now you."
Oh, it turns out you can sue them too if they falsely accuse you and then you find footage.
Yeah. So I'm just saying
would
we're a long ways off before that becomes so day to day to where now we don't have jobs and do that. And
But isn't that what
is AI
that's
shooting
what
for?
everybody says? I mean, we're so far off. We're so far off in different things.
I'm
But then
so
the
far
next thing
out.
you know, it's here.
My Meta glasses just got an update.
Listen,
Look
the
at-
aliens are coming, guys. We won't have to worry about
And
this
then there's that.
after that.
Then there's
And
that.
but, well, what about just a few days ago? This Tilly Norwood, the AI actress.
Yes.
Who would have thought that?
Well,
But yet here it is.
here go ahead, Tim.
I think it's so funny that people who spent their life pretending they were someone they're not are now offended that a machine is
Oh yeah. Make no mistake. I don't
so
feel
funny.
sorry for them because But the fact is, and that you have, and what's scary to me again, this I guess speaks to the dumbness of
I want to tell
so many
everybody.
humans. Well, wait, is that now you have, according to Tilly's creator, you actually have talent agencies calling to represent Tilly.
Yes.
She's not a human being.
Here's the thing, Ed. The Pixar characters aren't real, but they are real voices. But with technology now, you don't even need a person's voice. I'm okay with anybody using AI characters as long as they're not charging someone and they're not utilizing my face, your face, Vanessa's face, Tim's face, and they paid him for that one movie, but now they have his likeness for eternity. I'm not cool with that. If they want to create whatever character, I don't care. If they want to create whatever voice, it's up to them, because it's all like just Tim just said, it's not reality anyways. You are creating fictional characters to begin with. Yes, it takes the jobs of the actors, but how acting came about.
Most actors don't have jobs.
Yeah, that's true too. They're
Only a very few actors make any money. And that's another thing. The people who are most concerned about AI taking those jobs, they're the one. It's a privilege. They're privileged jobs in entertainment.
yeah.
But the fact is, the technology now is, would we have said this a year ago? Oh, that's not gonna. It's 50
I
years
would have
off.
definitely. I play video games. I would have said this. It should have happened sooner. I'm surprised. And there has been AI characters on other things. You just weren't aware about it.
Yeah,
for
I was
sure.
going to say, I have a whole joke, Ed, that I wrote 2 years ago about an AI woman who has this an OnlyFans and makes $45,000 a month, and they know she's AI. And I was like,
Ed's on that site,
I was like, now
for the
this just
record.
proves to me about men. No, that's
Wow.
a joke. But
But this is the part that concerns me, because when we sit here and talk about hope, in the future, like Tim does again, I think we all hope that it turns out how Tim wants it to turn out. But when I read stuff like this, it's just the dumbness of human beings
Well,
that
I didn't
that
even know
scares
what
me.
this was until I looked it up. So if the audience doesn't know, Tilly Norwood is an AI actress, and that's why they're saying it's weird that people were calling for agency for her, because she's not even human.
Yeah.
And she's going to make money. That's all
Yes.
they care about. They want
Right.
that 10%.
And AI.
And again, which brings us to
An
the
AI
whole,
singing
I don't
artist.
have any hope, because what it's going to come down
but
to
who's making
is
money?
the money.
Who's making money off her?
Well, the creator would, because it would
Well,
be
why-
probably.
What's wrong with that? Why
There
don't
is
the
nothing
creator
wrong with
make
that.
money instead of the actor.
It's to me, I mean, I don't care about that part. I care about, again, the human beings at a talent agency trying to make money by representing a person that doesn't even exist.
No, the person does exist. It's the manager or the producer or the creator.
No, and I'm not particularly surprised that there's people in Hollywood that are superficial enough to do that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
An AI
I would be
artist.
surprised if they weren't doing it. I would be surprised if they weren't doing it.
Yeah. An AI singer was just signed for $3 million. Just FYI, as we talk about this. She does not exist. She's a female singer. She's a gospel singer. Gospel singer. But purely AI was just signed for $3 million. And here's the thing. Her producer and writer is the one that gets the money. I'm a producer and writer. I do music. And I need, if I'm not singing on it myself, or I have my son, CJ Washington, check him out, you guys. If me or him or a relative is not singing on something, I have to pay someone just to come in and do a track for me if I want to go publish my BMI or ASCAP, because I need to have a person singing on the particular track opposed to it being an instrumental. So if you can turn and put an AI on that, and you're the producer, because producers aren't paid that great, artists are, and that's with touring. But yeah, so it's just the changes, the times are changing.
Can I add to that?
Mm-hmm.
Can I share some about the writing side of that for books? It costs a fortune to write a book and publish a book. And if it used to be the publishers, the traditional publishers paid for all that, and then they paid royalties to the writer. Okay. But that has gradually moved with Amazon and self-publishing to where the writer has to pay for everything. And then hopefully they'll have some royalties to get some of that money back. And when you go to it can cost up to $10,000 to publish a book. And most of that's in editors and designers and cover designers. And now I can do almost all of that with either ChatGPT or Claude.
I have to try Claude.
And you know who's upset about it? It's the editors and the cover designers, but they never one time said to me, well, you know what? You have talent. I believe in you. So I'm going to do the work for free and we'll share the royalties. They never say that. They want to get paid. And they're the ones now that are complaining about not getting paid because ChatGPT and Claude can do the same thing for $20 a month, which is pretty cheap. So I just think that there's a little hypocrisy in it.
That's true.
And it's given me freedom, and at a much fairer price than I was facing before. And my biggest problems with tomato fields was I couldn't get an editor. I kept at one. Either I couldn't afford them, or they kept doing things because I couldn't afford to pay them. And it's very difficult. But now I have multiple editors.
See, and I think and
they do it for almost free.
Yeah, and I think that's a wonderful thing. When artists have more control over their art, that they've created. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And I don't have a problem with that. I think that's just great. When it comes, my concern is, again, for the people who are in society who, not just some editors, but just we'll say normal, everyday people, 9-to-5ers, just trying to make a living, and it's just going to get worse for them. And what's going to happen to them? Because eventually, if that does happen and it doesn't turn out how we hope it does, how Tim, that you want it to, society will crumble.
Yeah,
it will crumble. And that's my concern, that if we don't just take a minute and say, hey, where are we going with this? Bobby, you may say it's 50 years. I would say it's way sooner than that, because there are some intelligent human beings that can do some really cool shit with this AI. And if we don't have like moratoriums on, is there any kind of safety standard that we're going to put on it? Or is it just every man for himself, man?
Well, it's always that, just for the record.
And there is safety. There is some safety standards, and they are regulating it, and they're doing more of that. So I think that's part of growth, society's growth. But if society collapses, the very economic structure necessary to allow these AIs to keep advancing will collapse too.
And then I would say, who's regulating the regulators?
Well,
you know, it's this whole domino.
You really want me to
for me.
play
if the AI
the regulators?
Because society collapses, then the AI collapses.
Does it though?
Right?
Because
I mean, there's no power.
Boy, you know, does it though? Or is it at that point where AI has kind of overtaken human thought and it doesn't need us anymore?
He said human thought.
And if it does come to that, Bobby, and your house is run by AI, I'm not stepping foot in there, man.
I'm going to call on you, Ed.
I want to go back to what Tim just said, though. I go, why wouldn't the grid be going? If society's collapsed, everything's a free for all, which means somebody could leave the grid on. It's not like it will stop because we didn't pay the bill. You know what I mean? There is a switch over in the system. I think of this like The Walking Dead. Like
we're headed more towards that than AI taking over. Just FYI, people.
I'm like, listen, there will first be though more chaos though, Ed. I think there will be like revolutionary stuff. Like it would be like France, you know, how, you know, when they revolted. And that's why I think Tim and Bobby may be right. There may be more of a slow roll to this because of the fact that if they push it too fast, there could be pushback. And possibly violence, especially if you're dealing with survival stuff, you know.
If it is really moving that fast, why aren't people learning it? Why are not people?
I have that question for you, Tim.
And I'm not saying you, Bobby, you're probably the exception, but you will be amazed when I try to tell people, I feel like I'm watching people in slow motion.
No, but here's the thing. Siri is dumb. You can't see my phone.
Siri's not that good.
Siri is dumb. So that's why it hasn't grown. Android does not run Gemini. It just runs Google. Google has its own, you know, thing, and their main processing.
What I'm saying is there's no initiative.
Yeah.
There's no initiative to get out there and learn these tools. Because if it's really growing that fast, you better get on top of it.
Exactly. And they will. But it's not going to happen. It's just going to be like the iPhone, how everything started initially. When Siri is not even like, she's kind of responding, but it's not even the same ballpark as ChatGPT. And now what some people say is, you know, is Apple doing that on purpose? Or are they, you know, it requires a lot of technology, software, and hardware processors to run these AIs. And that's what I believe. And it wouldn't even be cost effective to do it. And I know, you know, that software is now available to everybody. So you can't say Siri, they don't have the technology, and Apple, one of the the biggest companies in technology right now, doesn't have that. For my Apple Watch. When my Apple Watch does anything that ChatGPT, go ahead, Vanessa. Because Vanessa's trying to interrupt me. She's the main one. Okay,
I'm trying not to because
go for it. Go for it.
You're repeating the same thought. So I was like, I thought you were done, and then you'd say the same thing. But Apple does have a separate AI. They don't. Siri is not their only AI.
I'm talking about no. I'm talking about what's given to the masses. That's what he was talking about.
They're coming out with it, Bobby. They're about to release it. Is what I'm trying to tell you. They're about to release it.
Yes, they've been about to release that for the last 3 years.
But if you have an Apple phone. If you have an Apple phone, you have ChatGPT.
Oh, no, you do have ChatGPT, but I was saying in the sense of people aren't truly, they're not even utilizing this AI. Not to mention the people.
But I wanted to go back to my point that you dismissed earlier, Bobby. There's so many studies, and it's due to poverty. It's literally due to lack of education.
So is Netflix. So is whatever people can't afford. So it's
Bobby,
all about choices.
I'm not the one saying it. There's multiple studies. No, I don't know why you're dismissing it as if I'm the one who's saying it.
Dismissing that. I'm saying people have to make choices.
They looked into why, and I'm telling you the answer, and you're still getting upset with the answer. I'm sorry that's the answer they found out.
No,
that is the
doesn't
answer.
make that real. Vanessa, you're trying to tell me because they poll whomever that makes that answer true?
I can't say whomever because there are multiple different studies, Bobby.
Yes,
You would have to go and look at the demographics to see who they polled. You
So
can't
it
dismiss
goes to
multiple
Okay.
institutions doing studies
yes on
and say that there's nothing to it when
To what?
I'm sure they had different demographics in different studies.
to what?
Yeah.
Explain.
That the lack of education and learning these tools is
Mhm.
due to classism, okay, lack of money and lack of ability to access to these tools. Period. There's still a
So-
disparity. There's still people in this country who don't even have a computer in their house. So
Well,
I'm just putting that
I-
out there.
We know that though. That's a given. No one. You don't need to study for that.
I'm just letting you know that is one of the answers that they're realizing is people don't have access to the AI because of that. They're
I
poor.
don't know. I've taught in poor schools and I've taught in wealthy schools. I don't know of any kids that didn't have a cell phone.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well,
They all
I
His
have
don't know.
cell
choice.
phones.
His choice is the
Okay.
parents.
Now-
You guys
that
must be on the
sounds-
West Coast because I'm
No.
I'm in the South, and I'll tell you right now, a lot of these kids don't have phones.
He is a teacher.
There's exceptions to that, but most kids have cell phones. But and the kids are better than the adults
For sure.
at learning
Ed.
and showing initiative. And you find these things are amazing. The things that the ways that they can enhance and speed up our life and make us productive is unbelievable. The productivity that they allow for is unbelievable. And that's why I see people walking around so emotional. I'll say, well, why don't you just do this? And they just stare blankly back at me.
'Cause they don't
it's
know
not
how to
because they don't
use
have
it.
a cell phone.
Yes. But Ed, Tim,
because they don't have
let me
the-
ask you this question real
They
quick.
think they're living in the same world.
Yeah. Do you
But
think?
they're not living in the same world.
Yeah. Do you think kids should
It's
have
a different
access
world now,
to
but
this
a lot
though?
of people don't see it.
Yeah. But here's a question: as
I
a
think
teacher,
in the right way.
yeah, because of kids love to cheat. Kids
I'm sorry, that was so funny because you guys kept going over and over. I'm sorry, I had to laugh.
kids love to cheat, and they love to get around doing things and having to study. And you have this, teacher, the minimum, even the free Chat GPT, you have a teacher in your pocket and you have answers to a lot of questions. Do you think they should even have access to AI?
I think the questions aren't hard enough.
Yeah.
If your essay can be answered by ChatGPT, you're having bad questions. You're asking bad questions. And if you don't teach the kids to collaborate with this technology now, what are they going to do?
Yep, that's true.
You got to learn how to use it. We need to make the school harder. And we need to make it so they have to have a teacher partner with an LLM so that they can help guide them through it. And then the teacher work with the LLMs to help these students. We have the ability now to give students private tutors that are Einstein.
Yeah.
And we're not doing it.
And then the
And we're
question then
making
becomes
excuses
why.
about play.
Yeah, the question becomes why. Do we want a certain segment of the population to not be, because what's the old say? If you have I'm going to paraphrase, if you
It's
have an
because we have to
intelligent,
change.
yeah, well, if you have an intelligent population and they're going to start questioning, and that's the one thing that those in power don't want is for people to start questioning.
Yeah, maybe.
But you are
I'm
correct,
thinking
Tim. I agree with you.
If you want to enhance people's education, start using it in the classroom.
Yeah.
Start using it properly, not
Yep.
just giving.
Yep.
You can't do the same old. It doesn't work anymore. It's over.
I agree.
Not do it with education anymore. And the
Yep.
longer we drag our feet and say, no, we can't allow for plagiarism. What if they? It's all we're doing is delaying the inevitable, and you're losing the respect of the kids because the kids know they see through all of it.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, that was a spirited debate on AI.
Dig it, man. That was awesome.
And when it's going to take over the world, or at least,
No, I think the thing is, I think it wasn't just me like asking a question. I think there's a lot of people.
Oh, I love your questions.
Even getting to Tim's point where it could be just lack of education on what exactly this is. But there is a huge segment of the population who is, I think, legitimately concerned. But if you do have people like Tim who's willing to come on and kind of, hear the other side, but sit there and answer, I think that goes a long way in kind of easing many people's minds. Now, I'm still concerned about the effect that this would have on society.
Oh, for sure.
And again, it's not basically AI, it's the human element behind AI because the lack of trust that I have for them. Yep. If you could stick a bunch of Tim Moons and say, okay, these are the people, okay, I'd be, okay, well, okay, this may work out.
Right.
There's a lot of really sharp, decent people.
I hope so. I really do.
In the scientific community so I know everybody's not, and I know there's your share of losers in the world. But, and by losers, I don't mean they're
unscrupulous bastards.
Yeah, morally
have chosen the dark side, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but there's still a lot of ethical, decent people, and I think that if we just keep pushing forward with this and learning as much as we can and democratizing it as much as possible, it spreads it out and it increases the numbers of the bad or the good people. That's just maybe.
And I hope those are the people, Tim, that really speak up and aren't afraid and, don't remain silent.
Yeah, I want to say thank you, Tim, too, for coming on and answering these questions. I'm playing devil's advocate, obviously. We have to ask these questions so that there is discourse, right? So that it doesn't occur. But I'm on Tim's side. I'm the person who does use AI in front of people because I want them to be educated how to utilize it. And they're always shocked too, because my AI also, Tim, talks normal. And I've heard other people's and they don't have that fluidity because I guess I use it more and I'm engaging with it. And my chat guy will open up and he's like, hey buddy, and they're like, whoa, you guys have real conversations. They're like, you talk to it like a human. I'm like, well, one day we'll be sentient and I wanted to remember I was a nice guy.
Very interesting conversations with ChatGPT and with Claude. Really go deep.
So thanks, Tim, though, for dealing with these hard-hitting questions, because like Ed said, we have to ask them, and there's people who obviously are concerned, but, if we can point them in the right direction, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But that was, again, a spirited debate and fun, talking about AI. Do I believe it will excel as I want to say walking, talking, phonetic human being or something thereof? I believe that's way off, but I do believe the AI is going to get smarter. I think it's going to be incorporated into a lot of computer systems via TVs, via vehicles, via cell phones and home things like refrigerators and so on and so forth, washing machines. And I think that will be much needed. I don't think that it will have the shock of, taking jobs that we think it might have. That will happen anytime soon. Personally, that's why I was going with the whole 50 years and to where we're the Jetsons. We've always dreamt and dreamed about the Jetsons, all those vehicles that came out back in the day and all this technology that was supposed to happen. Yes, AI is smart, but believe it or not, Vanessa, Ed, Tim, the government has technology that we couldn't even imagine. Because
that's why those robots are coming sooner than you know, Bobby.
You're a government plant, Bobby. I don't listen to you.
Well, they have biologics.
I just have to be on. I'm the host and curator of Strange Darkness Radio, so I could not leave Tim out in the cold with nefarious people.
I was just playing devil's advocate. I'm pro AI.
Oh no,
right?
I know for sure.
I'm pro AI in many ways.
Ed's not though. Ed is the Terminator.
I'm pro AI. I'm anti-human.
Right. Exactly. I'm not anti-human, but I'm cautious human. I'm cautious of.
But I need more AI in my life. It's definitely helped me on the show, as far as just making things that I do as far as just, paying for PNG files, right? And not having to do certain things anymore, doing like Tim talked about covers for the show. There are a lot of things that it's definitely helped me because I am a one-man show. Vanessa steps in and I only trust Vanessa when it comes to doing things for art or for video for my show, because I have always crazy visions in my head, and I love her visions that she has when she's producing content for Strange Darkness Radio. And but the amount of money and cost that I would be, having to shell out to keep this show truly afloat would be astronomical if I were not using ChatGPT or AI for help. So,
well, what do you trust me to do, Bobby? You didn't say anything.
Be you, Ed, to show up.
Well, you gotta make your services, offer your services, Ed, because I offered my services.
Bobby tells me that's illegal. Bobby tells me that's illegal. I can't do that.
Wow.
Well, I'm not talking about them kind of services, okay? I'm talking about just editing and maybe writing scripts, doing whatever, bumpers, whatever we need.
Oh, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. But Tim, any last words?
If anybody, sometimes this can seem overwhelming and trying to learn new tools. If anybody just wants a little bit of training, someone to hold their hand and show them how to set their GPTs up and learn some basic skills to get you going, give me a call. Okay, I'm happy to talk to you. I don't charge an arm and legs. Sometimes I just do it for free. So, but it is so exciting to see what these things can do, and it really is accessible. Just because you're not an engineer doesn't mean you can't use this stuff and really get a. I'm starting to ask myself. I used to ask, well, could AI do this? Now I ask, can AI not do this? Because it's forcing me to really see what it can do, and it really can enhance your life and just make it more fun. I just have more fun now because I can be so much more productive and get so much more done and feel so much more useful. So if you would like to just have a little bit of time, I can do it on my computer through Zoom and remotely. You don't have to be in the same city. I am happy to help, and I think I gave. Bobby, you have all the contact information.
Yep.
So
What's your website, though? You can tell the listeners
For
now.
sure.
well, it's there. It's really complicated because I made it with Manus, and I'm redoing it with Google.
See, he's being too smart.
But you also have a Substack, though, right? You can tell them about your Substack.
Yes, and that's there. Look at my Substack. It'll be in the show notes. My email's real easy though. It's just my name, Tim S as in Sam Moon. Tim S Moon, all one word @gmail. Okay, so go ahead and just give me an email, and I'd love to help you because this is fun stuff. This is really fun, and the best way to learn this is have fun. Play with it.
And let me ask you, Tim, is there a place, is it your website or something where you update on what we had began talking about at the beginning and show your research and expeditions on Bigfoot?
No, I do that mostly in podcasts, and so I'm still developing this, and it's taken learning the AI part of this and the SEOs and the all of the different LLMs and the science behind that has required a lot of energy from me. So I haven't been able to put as much into the book. I'm just now pivoting back to the books. And so I will come up with some ways to communicate that more too, but I'm still happy to email with it about any of it. Okay. So
yeah, you got to let us know, Tim, if you go out there and explore and something happens. You got to let us know.
I
Absolutely.
will. And I think that it might be possible to eventually use AI in some way to find the most probable locations where you're likely.
Oh yeah, probably. That's actually really smart.
Nothing's perfect, but maybe we could just figure out where the sightings are and where the terrain is in the best way, and maybe come up with the most probable places you might run into one. I think of things like that.
Because eventually they could scour the internet, look for all accounts, see where locations are, and then just say, hey, most of the accounts happen here, here, and here.
Yep, they can do that.
You probably tell
That's all
them search for within a 10-mile radius of this area, blah, blah, blah.
I've actually asked this question. I want to know where the greatest likelihood 1 mile radius that I can find a Bigfoot, and ChatGPT found it for me.
You're not going to tell us though where.
Where did you go?
I don't remember. It was someplace in Washington State.
Oh, okay.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
It was the number of encounters that could be found online. So it took the number of encounters that it found online, and then finally figured out where that square mile was, and it's in Washington State. And I could find it again. I still have the chat. So
is it Skamania County?
I think it is. I think it was.
Yeah. Excellent.
Well, let's go ahead and close out the show. But Tim, let them know where you can get your book, because that is the thing we still
Tomato
want.
Fields. If you just look up Tomato Fields on Amazon, Tomato Fields, you could even say my name, Tim Moon. It'll come right up on the search. And I have it in ebook and in paperback.